I want to share, in a matter of personal privilege, something that happened to me this past week that I think you may be hearing rumors of, and if not, I will make it my business to make sure you at least get this truth of it. I have been, as some of you may know, involved in a group for quite some time. I think it's about 15 years now, that is sponsored by something called the Coalitions for America. It is an adjunct to an organization that our friend Paul Weyrich founded called the Free Congress Foundation, a 501c3 element, and the Coalitions is a 501c4, I believe. It sponsors a very important institution in this town, I think, the Weyrich Lunch. Some of you, I think, participate in that lunch. Others of you may be aware of it. I was disinvited from participating any further in the lunch this past week. And the reason for that is that I have made it my business, since I discovered the problem, to try to warn conservatives, Republicans, Americans, and others of a danger that I think is mortal to a movement like that I think many of us associate with, namely the conservative movement. That is a threat posed by someone who has been enabling its penetration and subversion from within by the Muslim Brotherhood. The enabler is Grover Norquist, an anti-tax activist, well known, I think, to everybody in this room. I have done my best to try to discuss this both in private ways and, when that failed, in rather more public ways, with full documentation of the evidence that supports what I've just said. As I think I've mentioned to you in previous meetings, we've done that through, most recently, a vehicle called the Muslim Brotherhood in America, The Enemy Within. It's a 10-part video-based course that is available for free at the internet at a site called muslimbrotherhoodinamerica.com. If you haven't checked it out, I hope you will, because I think that it will provide you ample basis for realizing that we do have a problem. And I, for one, am not going to be silenced simply because people find it inconvenient to have me in a room. So you will be regaled with these insights from time to time, I suspect, and I hope others will realize that it is important that this kind of information not be denied any further as it has been to this point, most especially, I'm sorry to say, by people who claim to be leaders of the conservative movement. I think it is to their great discredit and to the country's detriment, as well as this movement, that they are behaving in this fashion. But one way or the other, I think the facts are going to come out, and I hope that as they do, the people in this room, who I think come together on a basically bi-weekly basis because of your national security mindedness, will help ensure that the corrective actions that are necessary to protect the country from the Muslim Brotherhood and its enablers will play a role in doing that. I'm sorry to say, as you'll see in this course, that the hour is rather late. The Brotherhood has been at this for, well, almost 50 years. And that's a considerable head start at a moment when most of us are still pretty much clueless that they're even here, let alone that they've made such inroads as they've had. So please check out the course. There's something in it for everybody. If you are concerned principally about what the Obama administration is doing, there are 2 parts to the course that document that, its penetration, the extent of the influence operation, the impact that it's having on policy and security. If you believe that there has to be some accountability, as I do, for what has been done to make that Obama record possible by establishing a predicate in the Republican Party, specifically the George W. Bush 2000 campaign and subsequently in his 8 years as president, There's a lot of documentation. In fact, 5 parts of the course address one aspect or another of that, and among other things, document how it's a continuing priority for Grover Norquist. So this isn't ancient history. This is an ongoing and insidious problem that is benefiting, I'm sorry to say, as we show in the course, not just the Muslim Brotherhood, but also the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I dare say there's not many people in this room, at least I don't think there are, who would think that's a good idea, either for the United States or for Republicans. And yet, to the extent that a prominent Republican and his organization, Americans for Tax Reform, and other spin-offs that he has created over the years, are actively involved to this day in promoting the interests of the Islamic Republic of Iran and, among other things, trying to scuttle state-level legislation that I happen to think is absolutely imperative at this point, called American Laws for American Courts. In cahoots, by the way, with the left, as well as the Islamists. This seems to me to be something that, if there is such a thing as a conservative movement, cries out for accountability and remedy. So I appreciate you letting me get that off my chest. I would welcome any comments afterwards, because I don't want to take more time from our distinguished guests and the important subjects that they want to talk about. But you are on notice. We have a problem. And I personally would appreciate your help in fixing the problem, but I hope that you'll realize that it is your obligation as citizens, as well as patriots, to do your part.